You were born to thrive. You are born to feel alive. Every single second of your life, your life, your life, your life. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
So thrilled and excited to just welcome you to this second episode of Success Stories of Expat Women. They did it, so can you. My name is Eva Saunders. I am an inspirational songwriter and a singer. As you could hear the jingle, you were born to thrive. And also, I am an empowerment coach, helping expat women to create a very successful and thriving life after moving abroad. I'm especially focused on women in Switzerland, as it's a bit my story as well. Yes, nearly 20 years ago, I settled down close to Geneva. From I was just close to the border in French part, but very close to Geneva. And as I was very young, it seems to me that I did every possible mistake. And so I can really relate to your story. When I settled down, I felt empty, useless. I felt like I have no one understands me, and I really couldn't find my place on a personal level, but especially on professional level. It was like, oh my God, I'm no one anymore. And I lacked confidence, and I couldn't find a job, and it was very, very hard, and I felt lonely, and I felt depressed, and it took too long time. So why I do this series? I do them especially to help you to overcome all these hardships much faster. You will see that actually it's very normal, all these reactions, but when you don't know how to deal with them, then it's hard. I am so thrilled to welcome today Fran. Fran, nice to meet you.
Hi, Eva. Thank you so much for the invitation.
It's wonderful to have you here. So please let us start directly with your story. Where are you from and how long have you been in Switzerland? And what's your story? What brought you there?
What's my story? So I'm British. I grew up in the UK. I've been in Switzerland. I'm in a very small town, Sion, in the Valais Canton, which is in southern Switzerland, French speaking.
Surrounded by mountains. That's beautiful there.
Surrounded by mountains. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And my husband is from here. So we moved here mid 2018. So nearly 4 years, in fact, this time around. But this is the second time I've been in Switzerland.
Really?
I also spent, yeah, but it actually made it harder because I thought I knew Switzerland. So we previously lived here. We worked in the international humanitarian sector.
Okay.
My husband was with the Red Cross and I was with a British NGO. And so we actually spent 3 years living in Geneva 12 years ago.
Okay.
So when we decided to leave the aid sector and sort of come back to Switzerland, I was totally unprepared for how challenging that would be. Because in my head, it's like, well, I know Switzerland. I lived in Geneva for 3 years. And it's only when I got to Sion, which again, I knew, it wasn't alien. My in-laws are here, the grandparents, the holidays. We've been coming for over a decade. I've been coming on a regular basis.
Could you speak French when you came there in 2018?
Yeah.
Okay,
I did.
So you got the language already.
No language barrier. There is no reason on paper. I was convinced that I could do this. Professional insertion would not be a problem. I had all the skills. I was completely equipped. I'd lived in the country. I knew what I was doing, which I think actually made it harder because I had completely not grasped how different the different cantons were, how different Geneva could be to another French-speaking canton. I think I saw the big challenge for me. I knew we wanted to leave the aid sector. And when we left field positions, operational positions, it was very clear that we were making a choice to leave that sector completely. We didn't want to go back to Geneva. We didn't want to be in these big administrations, bureaucracies. I've got another 20 years of professional life ahead of me. I did not want to spend those 20 years doing this, grind, commute, kids, Yeah. So we came here thinking, smaller town, quality of life, and we will find something and it'll be fine because I've got French degrees, I've got the language, he's from here, it'll be fine.
Okay, so what was your background? So I know you're on managing position in an NGO. Did you do anything else? And what was your plan? Like you would find something, but you probably knew a bit. You had clear idea about what was it? This something.
I don't think I had clear ideas. I think I had assumptions. So I studied political science, economics, politics. I saw my role in the humanitarian sector as kind of a public service. For me, I was making parallels. If I'd gone back to the UK, I would have looked at the charitable sector and the public service sector, government, local government, services, all of this. And so I kind of assumed that that's what I should look at coming to Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yeah.
Yeah. So where do I have transferable skills? Well, it's about management, it's about strategic planning, it's about long-term thinking, managing bigger teams across different sites, political analysis, economic analysis. I just assumed that you can use your CV to make those skills stand out, and you go with job hunting and you network and it'll all be fine.
So I didn't. What happened once you settled down in Switzerland?
I realized that your CV, your diplomas mean nothing in this country.
I get exactly the same experience. Suddenly I was no one. I'm originally from Czech Republic, and in Czech Republic I had these prestigious studies at Charles University in Prague, which is like the university of the country.
There you go.
And I was already someone, and then I went abroad. I was no one.
Nothing. Yeah. So this issue of sort of acknowledgement or recognition of what you've done, I signed up to a bilan de compétences. It's like a coaching, a 6-month career transition. I knew I needed help. I knew I wasn't clear on what I was looking for. And I saw that as a way to sort of help me. How do I sell myself to a Swiss job market? How do I sort of structure thoughts around, well, what do I need to target and how? And I thought it would also help me network. So get into the relationships and meet some people. And I think, to be honest, that process definitely helped me focus on how did I want to spend my time. So it's hugely useful on that level.
Which is very important. You gain this clarity, and clarity is always first step. Where do I go and where do I want to go? Because you didn't want it. But the next step is to ask the right questions to know what you really want, who you really are, and what you want to spend your next 20 years of professional life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it did that on 2 levels. It did that on the professional level. So, they made me do my projet maquette, like my ideal professional project. What would it look like? What would it feel like? Who am I interacting with? Am I traveling? Things that really helped me think through what my daily life is, but not within that process. But for me, the sort of flip side of that was, well, on my personal level, because this process was all about my work life. But it doesn't stop there, does it? We were literally rebuilding our lives. This wasn't just a change of job, or we live in the same city and I just want to change my professional orientation. This was about, we have left a sector and a lifestyle. I need to find a new role and build a completely new lifestyle.
Was it scary? Was it scary at the time?
I wouldn't say it was scary. There were moments when I questioned whether we made the right decision coming to Switzerland and whether we should have gone to the UK. Again, we came here because I assumed that I was better equipped to integrate as a good French speaker with good French degrees than my husband would be doing that in the UK. But I think culturally, I actually think, despite where the UK is right now and Brexit and what have you, I actually think it would have been easier in the UK. But anyway, we're here, and that's fine. But yeah, so this process, really structured the professional, but by extension, I would do my professional bit during the day or in these meetings with my coach. And then I would go home and I would keep thinking, I was like, well, where does my Kindle habit fit into this? What about walking the dog? How do I want to spend my weekends? Do I want to be at home at lunchtime? Because I don't know what it's like where you were in Switzerland, but in Valais, kids have 2.5 hours of lunch break every single day.
Yeah.
What the hell do you do with that? So really trying to sort of map out not just the professional interests, but this whole, a life plan, basically. What's my life projet maquette? What do I want my day-to-day to look like?
So how long did it take to realize what was this project? From the point when you came to Switzerland up to, okay, I have a clear idea and I go after my goal.
I need to do it. I don't think there was any one idea. I think I had a few ideas. I was exploring. I mean, I needed to be a little bit opportunistic. And my husband was going through the same thing. Like, we were both making that shift. We were both looking for jobs. And it's hugely challenging because you're sort of waiting on the other. And on many cases, I felt, well, he's got the network. He's from here. He's got the name. He's male. He's got the Swiss degrees. He just needs to go out and drink wine on a terrace, and he's going to find something. And it did happen like that. But while I mean, that's where we are. But while that process was happening, it meant that I felt hugely hampered. I mean, my coach actually said to me at one point, "You are not letting yourself. You're waiting for him." And it's like, well, yeah, I am, because I need to know what he's doing to be able to figure out what I can do. No, it's not realistic to think I can go and work in a consultancy and travel, abroad and what have you, if he's also doing something. So, I mean, So that was tough. And I think as a result of that, I kind of had like multiple forks in the fire, prongs in the fire, whatever the phrase is, all at the same time. And I was kind of moving forward on all of those fronts. So I was job hunting. I increasingly had this sense that I wasn't going to get the kind of job that I was looking for.
What was it? Like a job where you are free between 12?
No, I mean, I was looking for sort of strategic management roles in academic or international, but not the aid sector. I was really clear that I didn't want to go back to the humanitarian sector. But something like EPFL, international partnerships, grant management, these kinds of roles I was looking at.
Which would say that you would need to move also, because you would need to
Lausanne. Well, no, this was a commute question. I mean, Lausanne, it would have been a 3-hour round trip every day. This was pre-COVID. So remote working wasn't particularly encouraged. I had a couple of interviews where the fact that I lived in Sion was held up as a what are you going to do with this? I was like, so I mean, there was kind of, I think there were lots of things happening at the same time, and some of it was driven by me, some of it was circumstance and what was happening elsewhere. So my husband finding a role opened up, it kind of took the pressure off me and meant that I could concentrate more on the sort of entrepreneurship business options. I had this constant sort of backup worst case plan. I taught English in Paris for a couple of years while I was doing a postgrad there. I have the teaching qualification to teach English as a foreign language. I did my website. I had my, how do I sell this, all of this. I couldn't bring myself to activate it because I just did not want to do it. But that was always there as like this, if all else fails, then I can do something. I have to do something.
So did it help you to have this idea? Okay, if nothing works, I still have one idea. Did it help?
Yeah,
you?
Definitely. Mm-hmm. I think when I first started, if you'd said to me 5 years ago, entrepreneurship, I'd have laughed. I'm just like, but entrepreneurship is about, creative ideas or people who innovate and have they think of things that people need. I don't do that. I problem solve. I go into a crisis and I find a solution and I put structures in place and I manage it and I deliver it and I put a plan and I get stuff organized. And I couldn't see how those skills would take me to entrepreneurship. I just couldn't apply it.
So how the idea came to you to go?
The idea came. How did the idea come? I think I've always found Valais is beautiful. I don't know if you've been to the Alps region in Valais. And I feel like it's really not well known. People have heard of Verbier, they've heard of Crans-Montana because of the ski station, but they couldn't tell you about Valais. And so I'm coming here. No, I'm a Brit. I grew up in East Anglia. It's flat as a pancake. We don't have mountains. And I just felt like, there's so much that could be done here. There's so much could be sold. And there's huge fashionable trends, eco tourism, nature tourism, outdoor tourism, glamping, camping, all of this. My husband's family had some land with some old sort of agricultural buildings that were falling down. So one of the questions was, well, can we renovate these and rent them? Like, what can we do with what we've got, basically? And then I kept coming up against this planning permission. It's a nightmare. And so I kind of went from there to, well, what can we do with this land that doesn't require planning permission? It's like, can we put a tent on it? And again, I'm putting all of these funky little dossiers together. I'm going to the commune. I've got nice photos. I'm going, look, this could be beautiful. What do you think? And they're like, oh, yes, that's gorgeous. That's the canton. Like, we don't decide planning rules. I'm like, oh, God, there must be a way around this. And again, all of this is happening sort of parallel to this professional coaching, to my husband's job hunting, to the odd sort of job interview here and there. And then, stuff just all came together at the same time. I was literally, I think that my breakthrough moment, there's a strategic plan for development in Valais. And in there, they talk about hébergement insolite. So sort of alternative, I don't know what you call it in English, sort of glamping or refuge and tree houses and things like this. And I saw that and I was like, yes, this is it. This is what we can do. And I went to the guy in the canton administration who wrote it. And I said, look, tell me what do I need to do to get this? And he was lovely. He basically looks at me and explains, that's not for you. That's for the commune and the canton to know how they need to figure out their planning plans for like the next 10 years. So I'm like, you're telling me I won't be able to do any of this for 10 years? And he's like, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just not possible. Like, so what do I need to be able to put these frigging tents up? Because by this point, I was convinced that it was a sort of an open air tourism, innovative. I wasn't seeing anything like this in Switzerland. If you Google glamping in Switzerland, you have maybe 10, 15 addresses. They're all massively different. Some of the prices are crazy, and there's just not a lot of choice out there. So, I was really convinced that there's something to explore in this. And he said, basically, to be able to do what you want to do, you need a camping zone. So a land parcel that's actually been classified campsite. And I was like, okay, I need a campsite. So that was, another door that opens that I start digging around.
That's tremendous. I'm just stopping you here because there is a huge quality that you do have as an entrepreneur. You're open and you have ideas. You have an idea, and once you have an idea, even though they say it's not possible, you cannot do it, you will keep going and finding the way until something opens. Until
I knew there would be a way,
and that's exactly what happened.
I knew there would be a way. I didn't know how, and I gave a presentation in another women's network. I'll tell you about it after. I was invited to talk about creativity and how creativity helps you innovate. And I went in feeling like I'm in completely the wrong place because, again, creativity for me, I think of artists, I think of graphic designers, photographers, all of this very physically creative stuff. And for me, I wasn't being creative. I was problem solving. I was, methodically, step by step, this is a problem. What can I do about it? And I think I start, my first slide, I went in, when I first got here, one of the things I was looking at was, can we do a boutique hotel in the town centre? That was the first conversation that I had about some form of tourism project here in Valais. So from that to where I am now, we've kind of gone, not even full circle. We're on a completely different track. But that the purpose, if you like, yeah, you're right. It's that long-term idea of something. There's something in there, but I think I was ready to adjust, adapt. Like, every time I was wrong, find a way around it.
that's another thing, being able to adjust and adapt to the reality, because you might have an idea, and sometimes an idea is okay and you can go after it, but sometimes it just doesn't work like you wanted at the beginning. So it's like, okay, I try this, okay, it doesn't work, so how can I make it in another way? So it's really like being open, adaptable, and ready to go after your idea no matter what, with this inner certainty. There is a way. Even though
that
I don't know right now, there is a way.
Yeah, I mean, that certainty didn't come overnight. I mean, I was doing a lot of reading, sort of market surveys, figures. I was sort of crunching numbers, like what happens if we do this? What happens if we do this? How much do we need to put into this? Looking at the competition, like what is out there? Is this going to work? And one of the challenges, some of the first conversations I was going to have with the bank, for example, because we borrowed money to do this. They're asking for, how are you fixing your prices? What are you comparing it to? Where's the evidence that this works? I'm like, well, there isn't any, because nobody's doing it. But that's not a reason to try, right? So I was pulling in stats from the UK market, from the French market, from the US. Glamping as a global phenomenon is exploding. There's no figures in Switzerland because it's not here yet, but it's coming.
Wow, so you're on the front row, and you will be massively successful in a few months or years. Wow.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm a Brit. We did the Industrial Revolution and then everyone came after us and perfected it. So I'm really conscious that we might be kind of out there, but we have to stay. I don't want it to be too fixed. Like, you have to keep revisiting, right? Every year, sort of check in. Are we right? Are we right? Do we need to adjust? Yeah.
Keep building it up. Yes, definitely. So tell me, what happened between the idea came up that was validated and the moment you launched your project?
So I would say, hang on, we opened in June last year. We took possession, we bought the site February 20th. And before that, I probably had a year of negotiation with the owners, because they didn't seem too keen to sell. And when they did, we didn't agree on a price, let's say. And then parallel to that, having to secure all of the funding. So we had to put our funds in, but then I managed to fundraise partly from the bank, and then two sort of tourism development grants from the État du Valais, the cantonal administration. So doing different business plans for the different actors, sort of justifying and adapting. Again, huge market analysis, rationale, scenarios. And throughout that year, we weren't 100% that any of it was going to happen. I mean, there's always, again, I was still looking at jobs. I was still like, do I need to just keep applying? What the plan be? So I mean, it was a slow process, and it's not a stable process. There can be weeks where you're flat out because you're trying to revise stuff and you've got comments back on a document and 200 pages of market survey that you need to repackage and send back. There can be a couple of weeks where nothing's moving. We regularly went back to the owners, sort of third discussion in, we were sort of like, what do we do? Where do we go now? And we ended up approaching the commune, who actually ended up mediating a discussion with the owners.
Wow.
Which did not go well. And there was a point in that meeting where I was like, okay, this is done. I'd sort of already mentally shifted. I was like, okay, this plan is out. We need to look at like, what's the next plan? Where can we go from here? And then the president of the commune said, let's go downstairs in the Carnotse and open a bottle. And so we did. And then it was all okay.
So how did you deal with all these long periods of hardship, and when it was not clear, and it took time and again, and you needed to persevere? How did you deal with this? What helped you to keep on track?
I think having always that plan B in my head. Literally in that meeting, when it was two brothers, when one of the owners basically came out and said, we're done, there's nothing to discuss. I literally, it was like a click, and it was like, okay, that's out. Our plan B is some land that we've got. We need to look at how long is this going to take? What do we need to do? So I think always having that the scenarios in your head and being able to feel like whatever happens, you're going to be able to move forward. I mean, there's two of us, right? My husband by this point had a role. Financially, we were able to function with that. And then I was doing some consultancies for the humanitarian sector. So, you know, there's other stuff you can put time into other. I think it's healthy to feel that you can be moving forward on something, even if it's not that core project. Sometimes you need to take a step back and come back to it.
But you take out some pressure, you know, because if there's only one thing that doesn't work, pressure. But if you, exactly. That's a great idea to have a plan B, so you never have this pressure. This is the only opportunity of my life, and actually it never is. There are always opportunities.
Yeah,
and you are open, like, okay, it doesn't work right now, so I can do maybe some freelance consultancy or whatever. But I can do something in between. It's not only one thing that I'm dependent on.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any particular mantra to keep you going through this long period of building your business?
This sounds a bit, I don't know how to phrase this. I think I had it made me angry that it wasn't easier to integrate, and that, you know, this non-acknowledgement of your skills. And I think in parts of Switzerland, you have stronger challenges, being female in particular. And so, I had a really strong sense of, you know, if nobody is going to give me that role I want, then I am going to make it. And
I love it. I'm going to make it. That's such a powerful statement.
It's all you can do.
Yes, if no one else is there, I'm going to make it. I'm going to show them I can make it too.
Yeah, pretty much, which is silly, because it's not about what other people think. It is about what I think and what I validate for me, where I find satisfaction. But just this realization that I can't wait for it to come to me.
This frustration or anger or whatever it was, it just ignited this spark within you in order to get forward.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about your business today. If you had to present it today,
how do I present it today? It's a project. I mean, we're not there. It sounds like a cliche. We're on a journey, right? So I mean, the adapting didn't stop the day we took possession. So the week before we signed the contract. Again, this is an old campsite. I don't know if you've seen many old campsites in Switzerland. In the UK, camping is a very mobile thing. Like, you don't have fixed campsites. You have static caravan parks, but that's a residential park, and that's a completely different thing to camping. So again, I wasn't completely prepared for what we took on. And I realized quite quickly that, again, in Switzerland, a lot of campsites have basically become kind of these static caravan parks. So people have their caravan, it's set, they've almost built a mini chalet over it. And for us, it was very clear that, no, we're not going to renew these contracts. We're going to clean everything out and start again. And a week before we signed the purchase agreement, the owners basically said, oh, by the way, we've renewed all of the contracts for next year. So we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So we kind of had to go with what we've got. And I mean, lots of negotiations, lots of discussions. A lot of people were super cool and basically said, you know, there's going to be changes. We've been here for a long time. You need to know when to stop, and left really quickly. So we were able to take possession of more of the sites than we expected. We basically put the tents that we wanted up where we could. We did the kind of communications so that people were really clear on, you know, what are you coming to? This is what we've got. This is what we're going with. This is where we want to go. I mean, this is going to be a 5-10 year project. There's so much that we can do. There's so much that we want to do. And I have a really clear picture of what that end game looks like. And that's kind of the fun, because it means that every year it's going to be a little bit different. So last year, for the opening, we redid the swimming pool, we redid the kids' playground, we managed to put up a dozen tents, like glamping, safari accommodation. We ripped out the bar restaurant area and sort of redid all of that. We started to redo one of the wash blocks where all of the showers and what have you are. And then we started putting sort of, what do you call it, potager, like vegetable patches down and just want to change a bit the feel of the site. We're waiting for the snow to clear so that we can basically go back and start round 2. The good thing about this year is that everybody is cleared out. So there are no fixed caravans. Everything is, we're trying to get it back in its natural state. So traditionally, people who had their little square, they'd cut the grass every Saturday, they'd keep everything tipped up, whereas we are deliberately trying to get it as close to an alpine prairie as possible. So the poppies are growing, the daisies are there, the lawn isn't flat, it's you're in the mountains, right? We've got a second room, which is really exciting. I want to make it can be anything. It can be a yoga room, it can be a sort of retreat group room, it can,
that's a beautiful idea, actually, to have a common room for people where they can gather, especially for groups like yoga groups or whatever that is connected to this natural lifestyle, you know. So that's
exactly. And the view is just amazing. It's over the pool, it's below the restaurant. There's so much we want to do. There's an old there's an old goat house which is still full of old goat it's impressive, and we want to tear it down and rebuild it as a what do you call it, accommodation, right? But not for goats, obviously. There's so much that we can do. It's the challenge is the pace, right?
Yeah. What surprises are you preparing for visitors for the next season?
So this season, we're going to have that second room, that second space set up as a kind of lounge area. So at the moment, the restaurant's there, but it's restaurant and bars and terraces. So this will give a second space, which isn't about eating or being in the bar. It's just about having that sort of common room. You can put the foosball and library and what have you. We're adding showers because the wash blocks were, I don't know how many showers people took on a regular basis in the 1980s when these were built, but we definitely need a few more. So we're doing some of those works. We want to explore little private hot tubs for some of the tents. So we'll have to see which models and how far we can do some of that.
Wow, amazing.
It really depends on how much can we get done now before reopening, what the weather's like, because at the moment it is snow everywhere. So it's really difficult to do proper building works. But yeah, long term,
where is it exactly? Is it far from Sion? Where is it exactly?
So we're just over 1,000 meters altitude, and it's just outside a village called Nax, which is, it's cool because it's on the south side of the Rhone Valley, so south of Sion, the capital valley, but it's on the entrance to the Val d'Airain, which means that it's actually on the sunny side. So it's kind of on the bump into the valley. And it's super cool. So you're sort of 20 minutes if you want to go to Sion, if you want to do the Friday market, if you want to go to the castles or the theatre. They have some brilliant festivals in the summer. But if you want to go sort of haute montagne and go and visit the glacier and walk along the Borne and go in the forest and alpage, then you just go 20 minutes the other way. So yeah,
it's a perfect position between the valley and the mountains, actually. So exactly. When are you going to open?
So this year we opened for April, for Easter. At the moment, we're only doing sort of 6-7 month opening across the warmer months because we're higher. We need to sort heating for the main infrastructure. Longer term, we'd really like to go all year round. There's a ski strip at Nax. So many people are investing in vans, the sort of van life movement. So there's definitely scope to do something there. Hopefully next winter we'll be able to do that. What else? I lost a train of thought there. I was thinking of something about mountains and Nax, and I can't remember. Don't know. Swimming pool. We have the swimming pool during the summer.
Oh, that's great. Tell me how people can get information about your site.
Yes. So we did a lot on Facebook because that was our initial communications. I couldn't build a website because we didn't have anything finished to take photos. So I put the website together to open last year for the booking system. So that's there. I'm working with the graphist now who's done all the illustrations for the website. We're basically going to add pages over the next month or two on what are the services on site. So you get a better idea of, you know, what do we actually offer and when. So there is a restaurant, there is a swimming pool, there is a playground. We're going to put together a kind of...
So what is the name of your project?
Sorry, Alp Safari.
Alp Safari. And if if I look for Alp Safari on Facebook,
Next. If you look for Alp Safari on Facebook or you Google Alp Safari next, you'll find us.
Perfect.
So the website is alpsafari.ch. But as I say, at the moment, I haven't finished the pages yet to talk about where to go and what to do. So I really want to get those pages done, just because if you don't know Valais, or even if you do know Valais, I think unless you know where to go and how to find it, it's not always easy to find your way around.
Okay.
And then, a little bit more about the website itself, and just make sure that the website talks about us, because at the moment, again, the Facebook page has got video. No, I think there's a video of me chipping up some tiles in the restaurant bar back in February last year and ripping out the carpet.
I'm very curious of seeing, like pictures of this place, because it seems like, oh, it's beautiful and romantic idea. And, when you are in Sion region and when you see all these mountains around, it's just beautiful. Yeah. So I'm burning to see
it's gorgeous.
Pictures. Yes, how it looks there. So it's like, interesting. Okay.
Take a look on Instagram or the Facebook.
Definitely. Last question, Fran. Yeah. What would you recommend to expatriate women who face obstacles and difficulties to create a fulfilling professional life after moving to Switzerland?
Don't make any assumptions. Know how you want to spend your day. And that means professional and personal, because I think if you're an expatriate wife or an expatriate woman who has been brought to Switzerland without a job, you by definition have a partner or children or something that you have to factor in. And I think the third thing, go and talk to people. Talk to as many people as you can, mainly women, because they will all get it. And I was really pleasantly surprised when I first got here. I spoke to a couple of women. Some of them put me in touch with women who I had never met. One woman took the train from Geneva to meet me in Lausanne to talk to me for an hour and a half. All I could do was pay for her cup of tea, to talk through, ideas, profile. I just thought that was amazing. And I asked her, why are you doing this? And she's like, well, you would do it, wouldn't you? And I'm just like, well, yeah. And I think we have this assumption, you don't want to ask, you don't want to disturb, you don't dare ask. And I have not met a woman yet who would say no. So go out and just ask, talk.
Be courageous to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Or just go for a chat, because I think through every conversation you're learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't put labels on it. Yeah. As soon as you say networking, I don't want to network. I hate the word networking. But if you just ask a woman for a coffee.
Yeah.
Go for coffee. Lots of coffee.
Ask women for a coffee. I like this one. Thank you, Fran, for your time, for sharing your story, for sharing your experience, for sharing your hardship moments, and also for sharing your wisdom that bring you where you are today. I just wish you all the best with this beautiful project. And if I am in Switzerland,
you come and say hi.
I will definitely go there. My husband actually happens to go there for work from time to time. Not to Sion, to Sierre, but it's not far, So it's like we might go there, and I would be so happy to discover this place. Okay, thank you very much, Fran. Thank you to everyone for watching this video, for being with us, for gaining some insights and having receiving inspiration, because you were born to thrive, and you definitely deserve to create a thriving professional life in Switzerland. So if you want, put some comments below this video saying what was really like a bonus, what was like something that you really liked and you will take to your life and you will try it, implement it. And if you feel like I'm lost right now, please don't stay alone. Get in touch with me. It's my passion, helping women to get clarity, gain clarity, to overcome all these little stories, lack of self-confidence, and to set up yourself to a track toward a thriving professional life. Thank you very much, and we will talk and see each other soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.